I don't know what Tesla feed you guys at Giga Berlin, but this is something special. This, ladies and gentlemen, is my new 2024 rear-wheel drive Tesla Model Y. And what's so special about this Tesla Model Y, apart from it being my second EV and the successor to my 2021 Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, is that this is one of the first right-hand drive Model Ys to be delivered to the UK from Tesla's Gigafactory in Germany. Previously, Tesla used to ship its Model Ys to the UK from Tesla China, which was always a good thing for us Brits because Elon had always said that Tesla China make the best Teslas. Therefore, with a shift in shipping strategy, on paper this Tesla Model Y should be no different to those made in China, but that's not the case. There are some noticeable and some significant upgrades, so much so that I believe Giga Berlin has placed its own irresistible touch on this Tesla Model Y. Therefore, this is my take and insight on my first week with our new Tesla Model Y, touching on how it compares to my 2021 Tesla Model 3, what are its unique quirks, like better cabin noise backed by a sound meter test, suspension performance, are there any Berlin tweaks here, build quality checks, and rounding it off with would I buy it all over again if I could. I've got loads to discuss, so if you haven't already, please do drop the video a cheeky like, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into it. First up, let's start with the good before we go to the even better. That being the exterior of the vehicle, this Model Y will look almost identical to the others on the road. However, there's some differences if you actually dig a little deeper. So you can't talk about a new Tesla without discussing build quality and in particular panel gaps. Admittedly, I haven't got the tape measure out, but at face value, just like every other normal person will see it, there isn't a foot wrong here. And I know that Tesla China produced some very, very good cars. And panel gaps are a problem in the past now, as it was an issue for Tesla in the early days of production. But it hasn't been here in the UK for some time now. So this has to be at very least on par with the made in China Model Ys, Bravo, Giga Berlin. So let's take a look at a potential difference now. This being the paintwork. So for this Model Y, we opted for the solid black paint option, having previously had the free pearlescent white on our Tesla Model 3. Now, I still rate white as one of Tesla's best colours, particularly as the pearl can really shine through after a good wash. However, with it being the only free option, it's the most popular colour Tesla on the road today. So we opted for the solid black option for a bit of colour, you could or couldn't say. Elon described Giga Berlin as having the world's most advanced paint shop, with more layers of stunning colours that subtly change with curvature. So you'd say we had high expectations with this Model Y, and I don't think it disappoints. Honestly, perhaps the black isn't the best for demonstrating the layering effects of colours, and the colour shifting midnight cherry red is probably testament to that aspect. But what this black is, it's super consistent. As the video shows, the thing is like a mirror all around. There's no chips, no differences in shades between different panels anywhere. Even if you look around the hinges and around the nook and the crannies, as they'd say, there's some real pride here in the paint department at Giga Berlin, as there's no shoddy craftsmanship here. I will say black is a bit of a fingerprint magnet and you can see watermarks on it quite easily, but thankfully not so much on camera. Turning to the cameras, the difference is 100% noticeable. Even to the average Joe, these are hardware 4 cameras, and in layman's terms, these are for a 4 to 5x increase in megapixel quality than the hardware 3 cameras that they are replacing. But it's not only the clarity that has improved. I immediately noticed the vibrancy of the colours with hardware 4 over the old hardware 3 cameras in my Model 3, and the indicators on the side repeaters no longer bleed into the side cameras during their night usage too, meaning that blind spot cameras on indication do actually retain its clarity during night usage now. Moving on to the tyres. With the 19-inch wheels, we do have the Hankooks Ventus S1 Evo 3s. These summer tyres still come with the foam inside the tyres to aid with sound absorption for better road cabin noise, for which we'll definitely discuss later in the video. The tyres are also highly rated for fuel economy and wet weather grip. However, I can't really comment on that just yet, but it's a good to know, I guess. With the 19-inch wheels here in the UK, we're still getting the silver Tempest wheel covers. I do actually prefer the silver to black contrast rather than just this new all black Tempest wheel covers that you do get in the US. They'd probably fare better on a white Model Y rather than the black one like mine. Anyway, let's discuss the interior of the vehicle. So this interior compared to my Model 3 feels dramatically different to the Model 3 as you'd expect. You're suddenly a lot higher and there's a whole lot more room, especially for rear passengers. But even as the front seat passenger, I didn't really expect the difference to be felt there. But that extra few inches in the cabin all round make the difference. Now, the seats. I believe these are a Berlin speciality, even over the made in China Model Y. As soon as my wife actually sat on the passenger seat, on merit alone, she immediately complimented the comfort levels of the seats. And this was without me advising her that this is actually a Berlin exclusive. These seats are certainly firmer than my Model 3 seats, which were comfy in itself, but the difference is kind of like a warming cuddle to a supportive, firm hug, if that makes any sense. And I'm probably not doing it any justice at all, but 100% these seats are a big upgrade over our Model 3, and they are different to the Model Y made in China. Particularly, I think it's the side bolsters. I understand that they have a single stitch framework, whereas this alternative is actually double stitch, and that's German craftsmanship taking place once again, I guess. The black trim on top of the door cards, they do actually feel noticeably less spongy than the older design of my Model 3 door card. And this variation in the black material then feels a lot more premium and more resilient as a result. And the headliner, whilst I do wish this was black or Alcantara for a more premium feel, it's actually slightly less fabricy to touch and it's a lot more plasticky than before. Not sure if that's actually an intentional change, but as a result of maybe a different supplier only, but it does certainly feel different than before. Door pockets are carpeted, for which I think Tesla have recently changed globally in an effort to reduce road noise and just unnecessary rattles. That's probably a cue to actually head over to the rear of the car. The carpet now actually extends from the floor all the way up to the side panel near the seat belts for the same purpose of noise reduction, so the seatbelt doesn't rattle. I actually did a sound meter reading between my old car and my new car, and the results, which I will show later in the video, are certainly revealing. The rear seat space is incredible for passengers, and existing Model Y owners probably know exactly what I mean here when I say that there's bags of room, even for adults, similar to how the wife noticed how comfy the seats were. A few moments later, the kids were actually praising how easy it was for them to actually buckle in their seatbelts themselves from their booster seats. The seat buckles are actually in a different location for the Y than the 3, and I think this change actually allows them to get the right angle with the seatbelt. It's at the right 90-degree angle, so there's no delay in actually them getting the seatbelt this time. So if you're currently having this problem with the Model 3 with younger kids, this Model Y is inherently a lot easier for them to actually buckle in their seatbelt. If you've clocked my floor mats, these 3D mats you see aren't Tesla standard, but were gifted from a Tesla leading third-party accessory provider, Giga. I rarely do collabs or partnerships unless it's a business or product that goes above and beyond. Giga is a brand that actually embeds itself into the Tesla community. They have earned a global reputation as the go-to provider for Tesla accessories, and I quite like that they have a passionate in-house team that introduce new products every month, aiming to provide Tesla users with the highest quality, unique and convenient accessories. And I will have a dedicated video in a few weeks' time covering the many different Giga accessories dotted around the interior of the car if you haven't already spotted them. If you want to nosy on what they have to offer today, I'll pop a website link in the video description and you can get yourself 5% off with my exclusive promo code, which will also be in the description of the video. Okay, back to the first impression video. I will cover road noise and ride quality within the driving and performance chapter of the video, but I have one more thing that I have to relate about the interior. Okay, maybe two, because the other one just came to me, is the consistent panoramic roof. As the driver, this is not something that I get to appreciate day to day, but as a passenger in the rear though, this thing is darn glorious, and it really adds to the spacious feel within the car, and it even adds a few extra inches on head height for passengers. The final point for the interior is just to discuss the type of glass for the front and rear side passenger windows, and these are identical in thickness. I believe this is Tesla's acoustic glass, again to reinforce reduced road noise within the cabin. The motors within the doors even feel more powerful than my Model 3 for some weird reason. and there's no squeaky windows, as when lowering the windows the seals are definitely well lubricated. Moving on to the storage before discussing some of the most interesting aspects of the Berlin Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive, that being the cabin noise and ride quality. This boot on the Model Y is so much quieter than my outgoing Model 3, and I think it's partly to do with it being fully motorized rather than having a single motorized and then a single gas strut on the other side. That combo there is just not as good as both of them being motorized. If I haven't explained that well, what I'm talking about here is just the opening and closing of the boot. When it comes to the storage, I think the boot has a grand total of 849 litres worth of storage space, and that's without actually putting the seats down. The carpet now runs a lot higher along the sides again, and that helps with reduced road noise. It's even on the inside of the boot lid too. There's not one, but two neat pockets behind the rear wheels here. There's a massive tub under the floor, plus the little extra space in front of this tub, which I'm using for my charging cables only, freeing up the tub for my random junk. In comparison to the Model Y from China, I believe there is no noticeable change in this area. In the front, we have this rather large frunk, and there doesn't actually seem to be any changes in terms of the previous iterations of Model Ys, worth reporting at least. Moving on to drivability, road noise and performance. This is perhaps my favourite section of the video, as I truly did not know what to expect, as I know the refreshed Model 3 has seen big changes and upgrades over the legacy Model 3. But has this 2024 Tesla Model Y seen any incremental upgrades behind the scenes? Great question. In terms of the road noise, I can confidently say that there are no rattles with the car. I mean, the doors sound completely different to the made in Fremont Model 3. At first, I wasn't sure if this was just because the doors are just a little bit heavier, but the more I actually keep entering and closing the door, the more I can't help but think Giga Berlin have again produced some sorcery to help the doors feel sturdy, reliable, super sealed shut in the name of reducing cabin noise. Okay, I keep banging on about cabin noise now, but this isn't just a psychological thought. I downloaded a sound meter on my phone to actually compare and test the road noise in my Model 3 to this new Model Y. And this was taken on the same stretch of road, just the opposite sides. And whilst I know this isn't hugely scientific, I attempted to make this test as controlled as possible to just help relate to how big a difference this does feel. In my Model 3 at 17 miles per hour, we were actually getting consistently on average a 74 to 75 decibels, even breaking the 76 mark at times. Now on the same stretch of road, on the same road surface, in the bigger and chunkier Model Y, this was averaging near 70 to 71 to 72 decibels, which may not sound much, but it was actually noticeably better, which is what counts. And it really does just reinforce the sound dampening efforts from the door seals to the acoustic windows, etc. And whether the refreshed Model 3 is even better at excluding road noise, I suspect it is, but this Model Y is a bigger footprint and is noticeably an upgrade to my legacy Model 3. Ride quality and suspension again is an unknown as I headed into this. It doesn't have the same upgraded dampening system found in the refreshed Model 3, but made in Berlin Model Ys did actually have an upgraded suspension system before it's made its way to the China Model Ys. So it's fair to say that Giga Berlin have taken some pride in not only lowering road noise entering the cabin, but also in the ride quality of the car. So how does this actually translate to this Model Y? Well, using the legacy Model 3 as my reference here, it's so much smoother over the bumps and considerably less harsh than before. Don't get me wrong, you do actually feel the bumps on the road, but it isn't as harsh at all, and there's actually less body roll than I previously thought there would be. Especially as I heard that the Model Y didn't have the greatest suspension setup. Don't get me wrong, this isn't anything like air suspension on a Model S or anything, but it's nowhere near as harsh as I thought it was going to be after watching some of the video reviews on YouTube. More importantly, it was a lot smoother than my Model 3. That is noticeable. Finally, before heading into the conclusion, let's discuss the performance of the car. On paper, this car is 1.3 seconds slower, so I was initially concerned that a circa 20% increase in acceleration times would actually be noticeable, but frankly, it isn't quite as bad as I anticipated. It is slower, but then again, the car is a lot heavier and bigger than before. So I went into this purchase knowing that was going to be the case, but my hesitancy was perhaps overly anticipated. This feels nippy enough considering its size and being rear-wheel drive only. So to conclude, what are my first impressions of this Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive? Well, this actually turned out to be a bigger upgrade than I expected. My initial hesitation was that this would be a few minor interior features and a bigger car. But as you've just learned, this 2024 Tesla Model Y has some German magic because this is noticeably quieter, smoother to drive and comfier to sit. Bags of storage for storing or just hauling. The hardware for FSD cameras and computer really help future-proof the car for years to come, especially if Tesla's robo-taxi vision actually do come to fruition. I can actually sit tight knowing that I have the latest and greatest FSD suites hardware. And whilst I haven't fully tested it yet, this rear-wheel drive Model Y does have premium audio. And there's now depth in the bass thanks to the subwoofer, but I haven't exactly turned on the drum and bass just yet. It's only been a week, guys. I'll get there. So if you haven't worked it out yet, I'm actually still quite flabbergasted just how much this Tesla Model Y is an improvement over my legacy Model 3 that was just, what, 3.5 years old? Kudos to the staff at Giga Berlin. I don't know what Tesla feed you guys at Giga Berlin, but this is something special. It has excelled my expectations of a relatively small upgrade to my Model 3 to something special. The quality of this Tesla build and the paintwork to me has raised the bar to what Tesla can and has delivered. And this actually makes my 0.5% APR deal that ever more special, combined with those free supercharged miles and that trade-in deal that I got. It's sweetened the deal. And I'm actually glad that I didn't actually hold off to the rumoured Project Uniper Model Y whenever that does actually come out. This is the problem with the rumours, is that you can miss out on quality deals and miss out on all these incremental upgrades that Tesla have made behind the scenes that aren't always publicised. And Elon has already said not to expect a refresh Model Y this year, and who is to say that there isn't going to be one next year, especially as Teslas go all in on robo-taxis. One thing is for sure, these deals probably will be time limited, so I think there is probably no better time to buy a Tesla, as there are more improvements that you'll notice through cabin noise, hardware 4, etc. than what's actually advertised on Tesla's website. And I thought my Model 3 was awesome even in 2024, but the improvements Tesla have made in just 3.5 years were much bigger than anticipated. Anyway, I've enjoyed talking about this for far too long. Do you have any questions on my Model Y? Is there anything in particular that you'd like me to cover in a separate video? If you haven't already, do drop the video a like, subscribe, share the video with anyone that may find the video beneficial. Plenty of new Model Y content scheduled for the coming weeks and months, so if you want to follow my journey, you know where to find me if you subscribe. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.